complaint about this?
Yes, I sure did.
Okay. Did they ever call you in for an interview?
No, they didn't. In fact, this letter here is supposed to be the end of it. They said, this is it, don't talk to us anymore. They've put continued attempts to argue over the methods and findings of the investigation referenced above can only be viewed as abusive and harassing. Accordingly, we will not accept any further written materials or oral statements concerning this complaint. So they pretty much try to block wall me with this letter.
So they're basically saying that even if you have questions about the investigation they conducted, they will construe that as harassing?
Yes, because they will not accept any oral statements because it's going to be viewed as abusive and harassing. See, and then at the top, they put, your complaint and all supplemental material have been thoroughly investigated. Well, really, it's partially investigated because they state it was based on contact I had with Lieutenant Pratt. Well, yeah, but they didn't mention the other officer, the security guard officer there that was watching over us. They did not mention the fact that Aaron had a lawful pistol. They did not mention Aaron's gun. And they did not mention that I tried to walk away. I wanted to go. None of that was mentioned in here, so I'm pretty much saying it's willful misrepresentation because all they say is, showed no Pima County Sheriffs Department policies or procedures were violated by Pratt. Maybe not him, but what about the other officer?
Let me ask you another question. So when they kept you out there and did all these things and you attempted to report it as a complaint, what did you accuse them of? What did you say your complaint was?
It was the harassment and that I was detained. There was an ID check is not a lawful detainment reason. It was a Terry versus Ohio stop. I wanted to go away and they just detained me there for no reason. And the whole time I felt very nervous because it seemed like that officer was trying to set me up for failure because they knew the firearm in the center console was there. Of course they knew that. And they knew it was a lawful owned firearm. But the reason they'd make a minor, because I was 18 at the time, not old enough to have a pistol. So they make me sit next to it. I believe I was set up for failure. And the whole time the officer was no more than 5 to 6 feet away from me, just standing there.
Let me ask you a different question. It's important. You also said that after you filed this, they never interviewed you.
No, never.
They never contacted you and said, hey, we have an internal affairs investigation going. We want to bring you in or ask you questions about X, Y, and Z.
Nope, not at all. They just sent me this very discouraging letter.
Did they ever tell you that they interviewed the officer and asked him questions?
I'm sorry, what?
So did they ever tell you that they interviewed the officer to ask him questions?
Oh, no. They just said they did a thorough investigation. They just kind of a general overview, I guess.
You got it.
They didn't go into any specifics, which is why I'm sketchy. So I'm thinking it was just a letter that maybe they send out to everybody because they don't want to do their jobs. Job abandonment. They just want to, I don't know, collect a paycheck. It's like, I think I call it the good old boy effect. One hand washes the other is what I think they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Last question. Did you ever hear back from them after they wrote you this letter, and have you tried to reach them since they told you it would be considered harassment? Yes,
I have. In fact, I tried to make a complaint about this complaint, and on Lieutenant Sacco, who's their commander of their IA, because of this letter, I tried to make a complaint, and so I figured I'll go around IA. So I sent it certified mail to the Pima County Sheriffs. His secretary, I guess, is who takes his mail, but I tried to send it to the sheriff, and they sent it back. They returned it to sender.
They did nothing with it.
They did nothing with it. They didn't open it. They didn't read it. They just returned it to sender. That's obstructing. That's willful misrepresentation. It's a Class 5 felony. And I tried to get in contact with Lieutenant, what's his name? Deshaun Payne, and they don't do interviews in their back office. One of our YouTube videos, I call and I pose as just a regular general citizen having some general questions, and they tell me that, we go in back and there's an interview where everything's on record and we do it all legit like that. Well, what I experienced was no, they just keep us out in the lobby, and the one officer just kind of nods his head like he'd rather be somewhere else. There's no record of anything said. Nothing's written down, nothing's recorded. And then
let me do this. I have enough information, and I'm going to have some other things I want to talk to you about. All right, that concludes my interview.